Because we're in the Junkies war room. That's why. Because the NFL draft is less than 12 hours away from kicking off in Green Bay. So we're going to crunch the numbers. We're going to run a mock draft all the way up through pick 28.
By the way.
And then we're going to figure out who pick number 29 is going to be. Because we're going to make it.
If they stick and they make their pick at 29, or even if they make a move, probably won't happen until about their time. What is that going to be, about 10 o'clock?
It's going to be late because in the first round, teams have 10 minutes between picks.
Yeah, and most teams pretty much use them.
I mean, almost always the teams milk the time.
They just sit there and soak it in.
Why would they rush it? Like they want to try to get deals done or move up, move back.
But that could be like 10 minutes times 30. That could be like 300 minutes.
Yeah, it could be a while.
That could be like
late tonight.
It could be like 11 o'clock.
Jason's probably going to miss the pick.
What? You're not even.
He's going to wake up at 3 a.m. and find out what happened with the pick.
Are you not intrigued? Like, when are you going to punch out?
When I get tired, when I can't keep my eyes open.
Then you just punch out.
Yeah, I mean, because especially if they trade. I mean, I'll probably stay up for the Niners pick. They pick at
11
or 12.
I think it's 11. I'll double check.
But I don't know. I mean, if I might get too tired and might have to bail before that. I'll record it and watch it in the morning.
Right, Well, I know you like to go in your bed.
Niners pick 11, Cowboys pick 12.
You like to watch TV from your bed and you fall asleep starting at 7.
Yeah.
Do you have your laptop with you when you do that?
Yeah, I got it right next to me.
So you do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. All right. So
there's no way I can stay up till 11. How bitter will you be if you stay up till 11 and they trade out?
I still need to be involved. I have to be. I'm part of the team.
So I have to introduce the listeners and or viewers to the Junkies War Room.
All right.
Sitting to my right is E.B. Peters.
Okay.
He's the general manager
Thank you.
of the team.
I deserve that title.
Right here, Cakes Quinn, the head coach. Now, I'm not the ultimate decision maker, but I have a big voice in the room.
All right.
Sitting across from me, the director of college scouting. I've forgotten his name.
Tim Gribble.
Come
on, man.
Jason Gribble.
All right.
That's your brain trust. We're gonna put our heads together. We're gonna fight. We're gonna argue. We're gonna stump for our guys. Figure out who's left, and we're not gonna wimp out and trade out of the pick.
No. We're making a pick.
We're gonna put them right on the table, and we're gonna make our pick.
We're making a pick.
That's what we're gonna do.
All right. So Drab. So you walk us through this. You're gonna use PFF's tool. Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's printing it right now.
Okay.
Oh, you're actually printing.
So
it.
we're gonna see it right in front of
Oh
us.
yeah, we need that data right in front of us. CB.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do it right as we go. Okay, that's fine. So explain what he's doing, Valdez. He's printing it out.
Yeah, he's printing it out so you see what all the other teams have picked, and then you guys will see the prospects that are left on the board. And then as you're role playing, you're advocating for what prospect you think fits the team best.
Right. I'm actually butt-sized for this.
So
This will be AI
generated.
There'll be some headbutting and battling going on.
Can you imagine the actual, Gribbles and Peters and Quinn and what they're doing right now, what they're talking about, what their board looks like?
Well, they're playing out sims. They're like, okay, if these three guys are left,
100% what they're doing.
Which one are we going to go with?
Got? Yeah.
It's basically what we're going to do here. They've been doing it for months.
I like to think
they've been doing it every day for months.
Yeah, I like to think a war room. The guys are just screaming at each other.
That's what you'd like to think, but I would assume because they've done this for months leading up to tonight that it's just going to go relatively smoothly.
We see these. They have cameras in all these war rooms. They're relatively calm.
I like the uncut footage.
And by the
way, kind of like a Girls Gone Wild tape.
I heard through the grapevine. Don't the Commanders have a new and improved war room for the draft?
So what does that mean?
Because I think last year's we looked at it and the aesthetics of it were like,
it was kind of bland.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
They should just do it at Cliff Kingsbury's house.
Yeah, should do it at his baller pad.
Remember how sweet that was?
Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury didn't make it into the room. I guess he just doesn't rank very highly.
Wow.
He's a grunt.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He has no real voice in player personnel.
So where are they doing it from? Do you know?
I would assume it's in Ashburn somewhere.
It's in Ashburn at Redskins Park.
They
just dressed it up silly.
Yeah, they made it nicer from what I've heard.
A lot of electronics in there.
I don't know. We'll see tonight.
It definitely has to be catered too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of
course.
They're not cooking grilled cheese in the
brown bagging it on draft night?
Maybe. I don't know.
No, it's a quality organization now.
Out
like
from
it's
my
being
source.
taken care of.
All
Let me
right,
guess.
so now Drabby's handing us PFF's
who's
mock
been drafted?
draft. It's just hot off the presses.
So we
Cakes,
can-
I'll have you make every pick.
Well, we'll have to go off your board, of course, because you were the guy running the entire draft.
All right.
Hold on.
I can't read the top of these. Looks like they took my guys. All right, ready? Cakes, you want to read them or you want me to read them?
Are we reading like some
we
of
gotta
the
let
some of the
people
picks
know.
leading up?
Yeah, I think we got to let people know who's been selected.
All right. I mean, we'll just go from the top all the way through 28. We'll try to rip through it as quickly as we can. Cam Ward goes number 1, as everybody expects, to the Titans. Travis Hunter goes 2. Abdul Carter, the Penn State edge rusher,
Okay, pretty
goes
standard.
3 to the Giants.
Yeah.
Will Campbell comes off the board, even though he has arms like this, and it's
Yeah.
hard to block people when you have T-Rex arms.
You
for the
can
Patriots.
you bet on those top 4
Yes.
going one? Because I bet
100%.
that'll happen.
100%.
You could, yeah.
I bet that'll happen.
I mean, those are the overwhelming favorites.
This
in
is
those
where
slots.
it gets dicey for me.
So Mason Graham goes off the board from Michigan to the Jags at 5. Ashton Genty goes 6 to the Raiders. They take the explosive playmaker out of Boise State. Ted McMillan, drab T-shirt, hates him because he went to Arizona and
First
he's a Sun
receiver
Devil.
off the board, gone.
He goes to the Jets at 7.
He gone.
Tyler Warren goes top 10.
Wow.
He goes 8th overall to the Panthers. Jalen Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia, goes 9. Rounding out the top 10 to the Bears. They go offensive line to protect Caleb Williams. Armand Membu goes number 10. All right, 11. Jason, your Niners get an edge rusher out of Georgia, Mikael Williams.
Yeah, they definitely need an edge.
Cowboys stay in state by drafting a huge offensive lineman out of Texas, Kelvin Banks Jr. Jihad Campbell goes 13 to the Dolphins. Colston Loveland, 14th, tight end out of Michigan, goes to the Colts. Another weapon for Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. At 15, the Falcons go defense. Jedi Barron, corner out of Texas. I don't have the 16th pick because it was cut off. So if somebody can help me with that.
Will Johnson,
Will
cornerback,
Johnson,
Michigan.
okay, the cornerback. He goes 16th. 17th, edge rusher. I know that this guy's been high on our board.
He's high on my board.
Donovan Ezeraku goes
Yes.
17th to the Bengals. Now maybe that frees up a Trey Hendrickson trade. They bring in a pass rusher. Maybe they deal Hendrickson on draft night. Yet to be seen. Derek Harmon, defensive lineman, goes 18th from Oregon to the Drabhawks. Mike Green, the pass rusher out of Marshall, goes 19 to the Bucks.
All right.
So that's another guy that
So far,
we've been
eyeing.
hoping would drop down to us at 29,
Yeah.
but we're going to have to go in another direction. We're into the 20s now. Kenneth Grant, defensive lineman from Michigan, goes to the Broncos. Shador Sanders goes 21 to the Steelers.
Makes all sense in the world.
The Chargers upgrade their offensive line. Here are back-to-back Buckeyes in this draft. Josh Simmons goes to the Chargers at 22. Emeka Egbuka,
Ooh,
the
I like him.
wideout, who we would have liked to see opposite Terry McLaurin, he goes 23rd to the Pack. Another guy the Commanders like, Omarion Hampton, goes off the board 24 overall to the Vikings.
So,
Luther Burden III, the burner out of Mizzou.
That's
he
who
goes
I liked.
25th to the Texans. And here are the 3 picks leading up to our pick. Shamar Stewart, pass rusher out of Texas A&M, goes 26 to the Rams. The Ravens take, this will make Valdez very happy, Nick Amenwari, the stud safety out of South Carolina. And right before the Commanders pick, Malachi Starks, a guy that would have looked good in a Commanders uniform, patrolling the defensive backfield, goes 28th to the Detroit Lions. So now we have to go to.
We got 10 minutes.
We got best player available. Now we've got to butt heads and figure out who the Commanders pick. We're officially on the clock right now.
All right. Look, I'm just going to get out there right now and say it. All right. And I know this is going to be a controversial pick if we make it because of the off-the-field concerns. I don't think you can pass on James Pierce Jr. here. We need an edge. We need an edge rusher. We need some help at that position. We need a spectacular athlete. Okay, he was arrested for speeding and having a suspended license, and he was a little disrespectful to the cops. But I think that now James Pierce knows that talk is out there, that he's got maturity issues. I don't think we can pass on him. I think
Quinn is going to have to push back here. I
think he's too good to pass at 29.
I don't think that guy fits into the Commanders' brotherhood and fellowship and culture that I've worked so hard.
I think it's worth the risk. He's 6'5". He's fast. He runs a 4.4. He was 2-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year, back-to-back years. He's a spectacular athlete. He's got unbelievable burst. I think he would do immediate damage on our line. I think we can fix him mentally, and with the maturity, I'm just throwing it out.
Now, I like the leadership that I've cobbled together in this room. I like having Bobby Wagner here. I like having Zach Ertz here. I like guys like Austin Eckler. Jaden Daniels, even though he's only in his second year, a young, unquestioned leader of our team.
What's the downside? The only downside to him is character, as far as you're concerned?
I mean, that's just the word on the street. But, from the people we've talked to, that I've talked to, he has matured a lot in the last 2 years.
I see the comp. CBS Sports has comped him to Randy Gregory. That's a wild comp.
That's an up and down.
That's like a talented guy.
That's up here.
Yeah.
That's a talented guy, but a guy who's also had a lot of issues.
Correct. But I think that those issues are going to be behind him. I think I've seen some mocks where he was going 8 overall.
I mean, that's very high.
Obviously a lot of these teams are worried about the maturity issue, but man, I just think he's worth it because his talent on the field is really, really good.
All right, Coach Cakes Quinn has got to jump in here. I've got to stump for my guy.
I'm only the director of college scouting.
And
you guys got to make the decision.
I'll be honest. You're kind of a lesser voice in the room. Let's be honest.
You're right, Tim Gribble. No one knows who Tim Gribble is.
I mean, you have input, but let's be honest. There's more input on this side of the table. These are the power brokers over here.
But he's way more plugged in than you.
He's very plugged
figurehead.
in. I understand.
Yeah. He's got all the data. He's watched all the tape.
You didn't see James Pierce Jr. play one snap this year.
This is true.
You didn't see him play one, not until after the season.
I'm relying on
I saw him play every single week.
I'm relying on your college scouting and intel and your staff to disseminate that information over here to me. All right, I'm going to stump for my guy, okay, to GM E.B. Peters, sitting to my right. Look, we need playmakers. We need explosive guys on the offense. And even though I'm a defensive guy, I realize
I know where you're going.
That you need to score in the NFL in 2025 and beyond to have a chance. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to surround our young, stud, second-year quarterback with another weapon. How about a guy that runs a 4.29 40, and we're going to line him up opposite Terry McLaurin. He's going to learn from one of the best. Terry McLaurin is our guy. We all love him. EB wants him to be his son-in-law. He wants to break up with his wife he just married and marry into the Bickle family.
Yes.
It's not happening. But here's what should be happening. The Commanders should draft Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas, to help
Give me his numbers in his last year.
Well, he runs a 4.29
I like
40
that. I like
at the combine. He's
but is he just a combine
athlete.
freak? How much production did he have?
You're going to have to go to our director of college scouting to get all the numbers. I'm more of a single guy.
Give me his production.
Hold on.
I don't want just a combine freak. I want his production.
Why are you a tingle guy? I don't get it.
Because I'm the head coach. You're the analytical guy. I'm the tingle guy. And this is the guy that I'm going to stand on the table for. But Matthew Golden should be the pick at 29.
Because you think he's like the next
Do you feel like that was the weakness of our team, or was defense the weakness of our team?
Defense is a weakness. No doubt about it. And we're going to address that in other portions of the draft. Because not to tip our hand too much, or we're trading back from 61. We're making this pick at 29, but we're moving off 61.
Jason,
he was
last year.
He was, he played 1 year at Texas because he transferred in from Houston.
Okay.
He didn't have a ton of catches, not even 60. He had about 50, 57, 58 catches.
Yeah.
Didn't have 1,000 yards, but had 9 touchdowns. But Texas had a lot of weapons that Quinn Ewers could go to.
Is he the fastest receiver on the board?
Let me see.
I believe he's the fastest guy remaining on this board that I'm looking at.
4.29.
I mean, that's a blazing speed.
How tall is he?
He's about 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
6 feet tall.
He's not overly physical, but he can get behind the defense and
All right,
catch long
I'm
touchdowns.
gonna stump, and then we can just decide.
Sometimes he doesn't go 100% on every play. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
We'll take care of that. Don't
Oh.
worry. Cliff Kingsbury and the coaches
Red
we've
flag.
got that covered.
What? Does
I
it
mean,
go
he's-
hard on every play?
Yep.
I don't love that,
Sometimes he's a little nonchalant.
and I don't feel like he has.
But I think James Pierce Jr., he goes 100% on every play.
Well, I'm also going to argue that Matthew Golden has not been pulled over for driving 100 miles per hour and was not trying to get into a fight with police officers.
It was 62 and a 35. It wasn't 100. All right. And he did have a suspended license. But I think he's getting past that because he knows that everyone's questioning his head. But I think he's a good guy, and I think James Pierce Jr. could be more of an impact player than you think.
What did he say to you when you conducted the interview, Jason?
He said, I'm a good person.
And you just
He
believe
says,
him?
I'm a good guy. I've made mistakes in the past.
What about his high school teammate said he was the craziest person he's ever encountered?
Yeah, but you know what? On the field, I don't mind that.
kind of like crazy on the field.
Well,
Kind of like crazy on the field.
I like crazy on the field, but can you keep it on the field? Can you keep it between the lines?
Did he give you that $100 bill you taped at the back of the notebook or back of the playbook
That's
back?
always a great bit.
All right, I'm gonna stump for I think an obvious need here. I'm intrigued by Cakes' by Golden the 4.29, that kind of speed.
As you should be.
I'm intrigued by that. Add to the defense by making your offense better. But I think there's an obvious hole here defensively that we haven't talked about yet, and that's at corner. I don't love the Lattimore deal. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen.
So you're admitting you got that wrong?
I think that we got that wrong. I think that was a swing.
You
and a
got
miss.
that wrong.
I think I got bad advice from my other
No,
guys.
you can't pass the buck like that.
I think I got bad
That's not
advice.
the commander way. You got to
I was
own
sold
your
a
mistakes.
bill of goods. I didn't know how banged up he really is.
You bought a lemon.
He's a big talker. He's a big hitter. He's a grabby guy, but his best days are behind him. So I need to upgrade at corner. I kind of like, just when you look at it just from on paper, Trey Amos. Cakes. 6'1", 195 pounds, runs a 4.40. Big guy. People have him ranked around 15, 16 overall. I think he could really upgrade our secondary, especially if Lattimore. I think he's a plug-and-play guy. You can play him right away. Led the team with 13 pass breakups last year. Had the team lead in interceptions. Started all 13 games. Transferred from Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think we can ignore the corner situation. I'm not saying 100% he's the guy we got to go for, but I'm saying we need a corner, and I like him as a possibility there.
You like his moxie.
I
You
like
his
him.
makeup.
I like him as a possibility there.
All right,
I could be sold though. I don't know. People, we might want to open. You want to open the lines? People could stump for one of our three.
Yeah, they could like some associate scouts out there, prospective scouts.
Who are they? So, but I think you got to kind of basically stick with who we're pushing.
Sure, that works. 800-636-1067. You can give us your lean, and then the pick will be in, and we'll reveal the pick when we come back here on the Fan. All right.